the rage with which Vivica Fox and Racine and Anaya, the rage that they have, where does that go? Yeah. Where do Black women put that rage?
I wrote down that this is like Eve's Bayou meets Kill Bill.
Janelle Monáe is like, it was your mother's fault. Spit in there. I went, oh my God. Oh, we spitting now?
Yeah. When Alesha Harris began writing the script for the film, she was working 2 jobs. She was on food stamps.
Wow.
And I thought, now, isn't that some shit?
Let me fix it.
Welcome back to Let Me Fix It, the podcast that says you can always add a little more salt to the dish, but you can't add less. And you can't add less, and you can't say add it after the fact. That's my addendum to this tagline. This comes from Borbarella. Thank you. It's true.
Yes.
I'm harking back to that Oprah episode. Remember when that lady was on Oprah?
Do you like it? I hope so.
I do like it. I like it very much. I think, did we add salt and pepper? I think we needed salt and pepper.
No, there's no salt and pepper in it.
Guys, if you haven't seen this, YouTube Oprah salt chicken. It's hilarious.
Oh, my God.
You know, she had to be a white woman. This white woman was cooking, and Oprah took a bite, and she was like, She's like trying to be kind, but she's like, where's the salt? And the lady was like, you add that after.
I would just like, I think it's delicious, is what it really is.
Anyway, I'm DeLon Grant. I'm an actor, singer, writer, photographer, and an educator.
And I'm Francesca MZ. I'm an actress, I'm a producer, I'm a TV writer, and a social media strategist. And welcome back to Let Me Fix It, the podcast that says...
Alicia Keys. God love her. When she hit that... Oh, it's so flat.
It's really...
I can't believe they let that go. Like they... This is when we were young. We were very young.
We were babies.
Not that we wouldn't say that same thing now, but like looking back on it, you're like, oh, wait a minute.
I mean, we weren't wrong.
Oh, we're still right. We're still right. Oh my God. That was a good callback.
We've been friends for a very long time. And this show, while it's now Let Me Fix It, it's had many iterations just over the course of our 20 plus year friendship. So I dug into the archives for that little clip of our very first YouTube venture like 13 years ago.
Crazy. Can I say one thing about that? It was called He Said, She Said, that YouTube series that we had. And I know that wasn't original, but when we landed on that, I was like, it's gold. It was a great name.
My God. It was great. Well, and it was one that somebody in one of my subscribers pitched us that name, and it was so fun. And it just felt like us. And in many ways, it's kind of like, early Let Me Fix It. I mean, we are like talking about media and things that we would do differently. And I don't know, it was really fun to go back and look at those and try to find a good clip for me to share.
That's very cool. Very cool. Well done, Fran.
All right, well, class, we are continuing our movie and TV reviews here with one that a number of people asked us to review. The film Is God Is, which is based on the Alesha Harris 2018 play that follows twin sisters who set out on a quest for revenge against their father for disfiguring them as children. So be forewarned, there are going to be spoilers in this episode.
You know it.
But you can go ahead and watch the film on a number of streaming sites. I watched it on YouTube. I think it was on sale for like $6 or something.
$6.99. I rented it on YouTube as well. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's jump in. DeLon, thoughts?
I really fucking loved this film.
I liked it too.
I really did. Fucking loved it.
And class, we don't talk beforehand. So I don't know what you gonna say and vice versa.
All right.
Don't get us in trouble.
Listen, Fran's always looking at me sideways. She might as well be texting like, shut up, nigga, cause you gonna get us in trouble. She's not wrong. Sometimes I go off the cuff. But I will say, one of my favorite things about this was that it was 90 minutes. It was a cute 90.
And let me just say, it was 90 minutes. I thought it could have been a little longer. When it ended, I said, no, wait, it's over.
Listen, keep them wanting more. Keep me wanting more. It was really well crafted.
Yes, it really was. And a brilliant directorial debut from Alesha Harris. This was her, it was a play first, but to come out the gate with this as her first feature is really masterful. DeLon, talk to us about top line thoughts, and then we can like dig into the actual story.
Yeah, first thing is like I really was surprised when I watched a couple interviews with Alesha, and she said that it was a play, and I was like, oh my God, I can't imagine how this is a play.
I could feel it.
Really,
you could feel it while watching? Yeah, well, in the dialogue.
Well, because I think because plays are so dialogue heavy, and film and TV is just especially film is just a visual genre.
Yeah.
And I just thought she did such a great job transferring it because the visuals were so specific and so cool. I'll bring out a couple examples. So Sterling K. Brown is in this film, and he plays the dad who left the kids. You do not see his face until the very end. You see images of his mouth laughing. You see his back. You see his hands.
You don't even hear his voice until the very end, which that was interesting because
people speak for him. Yeah,
and his voice is so. Sterling K. Brown is doing this like heightened, higher pitch, which is in very much contrast to what you would assume the villain.
Right.
So Class, he is kind of described as the monster, and their mother is described as God. They call her God in the film. And the film centers around this traumatic event when they were kids where the twins were burned along with their mother by their father, the monster.
Right.
And so, Delon, to your point about how we don't see his face the whole time, it's terrifying. It's so so scary.
Well, and it just really evokes this kind of looming larger than life figure that I think has obviously played a huge role because of the tragedy, because of the crime he committed against his family throughout their entire lives. So we meet these young women when it seems like they're definitely adults, maybe in their 20s or something like that. They're twin sisters, like Fran was saying. And the reason I bring up the twin sister part of it, because staying with the visuals, I thought she did her and her DP, her director of photography or cinematographer, is brilliant. They to evoke the twins, because these actresses aren't twins; they look very different. But to evoke that feeling, there's a lot of synchronicity. So you see them, you see them getting up at the same time. You see them putting down bowls at the same time.
They speak in this like very poetic cadence and they always call each other twin.
Yeah,
and they like finish each other's sentences. They talk at the same time. And
to
your point about the visuals,
when they're talking
on screen,
the text on the screen. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, when they kind of have this ability to speak to each other. What do you internally? Or there was another word that I was going to use, but it's on screen. As text, which I loved as a graphic designer girl. It's like the text are kind of dancing around them and talking to each other, like sometimes
up a little bit. Yeah.
Sometimes it's sideways. Sometimes the letters are kind of, like staircased, and I just loved all that stuff. But to me, that stuff felt very much like a play because the actresses, Carrie Young and Mallory Johnson, they do not look alike, but they are styled impeccably, and their mannerisms feel, like they're twins. And that's something we see a lot in plays where someone will be cast as twins or as siblings, or you will see a multiracial family and while they're casted that way, it's not written that way. So to me, because I was like, they could have cast twins, or they could have cast one actress and doubled her, they do that in movies a lot, but I really loved the way that they handled this. And I'm going to say it, Carrie Young, an absolute star.
Let me talk about Carrie Young for a second. Carrie Young is a Broadway actor who is a 2-time Tony winner.
The first Black woman.
Back years for plays.
Yeah.
She's like the litmus right now. She is the career to have. She's brilliant. She's brilliant. The other thing about the visuals and kind of what you're talking about with the text on the screen, it's an amalgamation of all of the visuals. I thought Alesha Harris did such a great job with getting us capturing our attention because we are so online. We are so in our phones all the time. The shots were very quick. Right.
Yeah.
And there weren't long shots when you're following them until you get later in the film. In the beginning, it's shot of the two of them establishing their relationship and who they are. But she also did a really good job of just clipping photos like of them posing in front of like signs and things like that, which are very social media. It's very Instagram. So we recognize it with our our media literacy, our media attention rather. So I thought that was just really, really well done. The visuals, I can't say enough about them. Some of them, the landscapes, right? They have this broken down car that they're traveling, like Fran was talking about. They don't know their mother left them at some point, and they think
that their mother has died, and they go burned up. They go into foster care, and when we meet them, they get a letter from their mother,
right?
And it's not addressed to both of them. It's only addressed to Racine, Cara Young's character, and even that is really interesting because when they go to visit their mother, Vivica Fox, there is this feeling of, one of you is my favorite and the other one is not. And like Cara is kind of like the mean sister, like the bad sister. And Anaya, Mallory Johnson, is kind of like the meek sister because she is more significantly burned. Right. She's the one that, has felt like she's the ugly one, and Racine gets to be the pretty one. And they both are kind of embodying that. And the mother, God, says, well, I knew I couldn't write to you because it would be too much for you to deal with. And sure enough, she's in the corner kind of like, ooh, like really having a hard time. And so I thought that was really interesting that like throughout the film, we are kind of seeing these twins embodying good and evil, so to speak, that like Racine has this thirst for vengeance, which she absolutely is entitled to, but Anaya is kind of like, I don't know if this is the right move. So when they go to visit their mother and she says, I want you to kill your daddy dead,
right?
At first they're both kind of like, ooh, I'm not really sure,
right?
And then as soon as she shows them what he did to her, that is powerful.
It's one of the coolest things. Yeah, that's one of, I wrote that down. That's one of the coolest things, class. So they go to see God, their mother, and like Fran was saying, they're a little apprehensive about this mission that that's being thrust upon them. And to get them, the impetus to get them to go on the journey to kill their father, she has these aides that are with her, kind of, they're braiding her hair, they're taking care of her. They lift up
Greek
the
chorus.
blanket. Very, very that. They lift up her blanket, and we don't see it, but we see the actress's reaction. The two twins react to what was done to her, and then they're like, hey, let's go. One thing that I really want to bring up that I thought was really cool is that this gives Blaxploitation vibes a lot.
Yes.
And I thought that, class, if you don't know what Blaxploitation is, it's a genre that happened in the 70s. It was labeled by the NAACP to be Blaxploitation because it's a portmanteau, it's like portmanteau, like we like to say on this podcast, black and exploitation, and the NAACP thought that they used urban culture, black culture, and abused kind of set up tropes that we are these people, and the NAACP was saying, no, that's not true. We're more broad than that. But Hollywood ran with it, specifically black writers and black directors. They were like, no, this is it. Superfly is an example of that. Anyway, the mission of them going to kill somebody, and the car, they have this broke down old car, and they don't have any weapons, but they're just about to. It gave Blaxploitation. It gave also the deity kind of. The deity-like presence that Vivica had, their mom, right? The shot is her sitting there with these women braiding her hair, with this mask on her face, and she's just accepting, like
that
waiting for these women.
So fucking cool. Like, to your point about the visuals, like it is understood because her body has been so badly burned. Because she also has like sleeves on her arms, like almost like a compression sleeve, and then she has this mask which looks like kind of a ski mask, but again, you can just surmise that it's like holding her skin together, but it looks fucking cool.
Crazy.
Like just every single shot and every piece of wardrobe and color and set was all so deliberately chosen. This is one of those films that I want to go back and watch a second time, and maybe even a third time, which is not something I normally do, because I'm sure there are little Easter eggs throughout. One thing that I wrote down as a Chekhov's gun, which was something that Delon mentioned.
Come on now, Chekhov's gun.
when we watched Obsession is the two girls are talking about, this idea that they're going to go kill their father. They don't know how to do it. And they're kind of plotting and talking about what they should do. And at one point, Racine says, well, maybe I could push him off of a building. And Anaya says, well, he could pull you down with him. And I went, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then later on, spoiler, that ends up what happens. They kill him.
Coming. I did not see that coming.
There's this moment where they actually do confront Sterling K. Brown, and sure enough, he pulls Racine down with him as he dies, which is like really incredible.
Crazy. So I didn't see that happening, but I did write down early on, I was like, one of them has to die. I did. I wrote one.
Yeah.
Just because of the way it was set up, the stakes of not knowing them, being with their parents, being in foster care.
And all they had was each
other. And then at some point, Anaya, played by, is it Mallory Brown or Maori Brown? Mallory?
It's spelled Mallory, but it could be said Mallory, hopefully.
Class, let us know if you know this woman's name, but she's fantastic. She plays Anaya. At one point, they find out that Anaya is pregnant or she tells her sister, I think her sister is like helping her get dressed and sees her.
She's like, why your titties so big?
She sure did. That's exactly.
She's like,
that's just so black. That's just so black. I saw anecdote. I'm watching House of the Dragon, which is a Game of Thrones. I love fantasy. A very similar thing happened with a mom and a daughter, and the mom is just like helping her clasp her little robe clothes, and she's like, Helena. I was like, that's the difference. She was like, why your titties so big? That is just so black. But when we found out that she's pregnant, I went, oh, now there's another reason for her to live. So I think Racine is probably going to be the one that doesn't survive. Yeah. This film is terribly violent. I mean, terribly violent.
Yes. And so, you brought up the blaxploitation element. I wrote down that this is like Eve's Bayou meets Kill Bill. So it's
well
like
said.
It's like the Southern Gothic, the
mysticism,
the like complicated family dynamics, but then like the revenge flick of the Kill Bill of it all.
Yeah.
But it gets really bloody, and it gets really, and I understand it, but there were many moments where I was like, oh, okay, I was flinching.
Yeah, it was because it does get brutal. But the thing that I appreciate about her not hiding, Alesha Harris not hiding it, is because I think this is probably a stretch, but go with me here. I think there was like an underpinning current of generational trauma.
Yes.
And how violence sustains itself. The entire movie is premised on this guy, their dad, burned the fuck out of his two daughters and his, I assume, wife, or if not wife,
the mother of his children.
The mother of his children. And that sets them on a journey, right? And so I think it had to be that violent, especially if you're asking for vengeance. It's kind of a film about vengeance, right?
And let me tag on to there. Yes, it's about the generational trauma, but I think it's also about all of the people and the systems that stand in the way of these Black girls and Black mother from getting justice.
Yeah.
Think about, the new wife that suddenly gets with him, and she's all churchy. So, I mean, there's an undercurrent of a critique of the church, which is something that you and I talk about a lot, and how they protect abusers. Then there's the lawyer, who the lawyer helps get him off, and only for Sterling K. Brown to turn around and take out his tongue. So it's like, that this man is violent, and you are helping him get away with this, and now you are surprised.
Right.
He essentially is preparing for Sterling to come back and kill him. I mean, that was even like really intense. They show up to the lawyer's office, and he has a woman beating the shit out of him because he's trying to train himself or something to get ready. I mean, all of these characters, and then even the foster care system, like the girls go into foster care, and they talk about how, their different moms treated them badly. And there's like some allusions to them even being sexually assaulted. And so all of these, it almost feels like the monsters in a Greek a Greek tragedy. Like they are going on this trip to try and find their father, and they must kind of combat all of these different demons on the way that are all essentially protecting him, because even when they meet his new wife, played by Janelle Monáe, she's trying to get away, but she is also blaming their mother. It's like she's like, well, I'm better than that one, but also I don't want him to hurt me. Like, girl, what?
That was one point I was like, I don't know that I believe this, especially when Janelle Monáe, they confront her. Racine and Anaya, they're trying to find their father. They track him down into this house in the desert. It's a great house. There's a pool. It's beautiful, right? And Janelle Monáe, like Fran was saying, is trying to leave, and Anaya and Racine confront her in the road. Janelle Monáe is trying to get them to move. Then they start confronting her or whatever. Janelle Monáe is like, it was your mother's fault. Spit in there. I went, oh my God. That's exactly what. Oh, we spitting now? Yeah. We spit. Like, that was a little unplausible. I'm like, girl, you trying to get away. That is not going to help you out in this scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I felt any sort of way about that plot point specifically. For me, it was more of the layers of a lot of abusive men are protected by pick-me-ass women who think, well, I'm going to be treated differently. I'm not like the other girls. And here she has 2 kids with him. He changes his name. She knows, and he tells her that the twins are dead, and maybe that the wife is dead. But like, in what world would you want to start a relationship with somebody who something suspicious happened with his first family, and now he got a new name? And obviously, like, when we meet her, it is clear that if he hasn't, physically abused her, he is treating her poorly because she's terrified. She's like, collecting all of her stuff and trying to get out of there. And it's like, I think the lesson there is like, it's only a matter of time before it happens to you. Like, you stepped over another woman and her children in order to get this man who has left, all of this tragedy in his wake and is a violent, terrible person.
Well, and
you're not special, girl.
It's also a commentary on like you said, on these pick-me women. But I think the rage with which that not only God, Vivica Fox, and Racine and Anaya, well, more Racine, the rage that they have tells me, like, where does that go? Yeah. Where do Black women put that rage? Also, the narrative that he not only went from the first family, but went to Erica Alexander plays this character called Mother Divine, which is the church, which is actually a really funny scene. She's a brilliant comedic actress. But she goes and he has a baby with her, and then leaves her, and then goes to have this other family. And it's like, why are these men? And I know this is a trope, but there's stereotypes for a reason. These men are able to go from family to family to family, affecting people and not having any kind of,
consequences,
support, but consequences for their actions. Yes. And these people are their lives, right? Their lives are significantly changed or affected by these men. And I just feel like I felt that viscerally. Where do women put this rage? Adjacent to the pick-me, right? Because she was at the tail end of her journey, or trying to be at the tail end of her journey by leaving Janelle Monáe's character.
And I think that's kind of like the heart of what this story is that we're seeing these 2 twins grappling with the generational trauma, and where do they put that anger? And there's this kind of confrontation between the twins where Mallory, or Mallory, I don't know how to say her real name, she says, like, you're enjoying this too much. Like, when she is beating the shit out of Janelle Monáe, she's like, I don't like this. Like, this is not it. And I would argue that it's almost kind of alluding to the fact that, like, the evil that is in the monster, Sterling K. Brown, is also kind of in Kara's character. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like once she gets a taste of it, because at first she's like, oh, I just want to kill, I'm going to kill him. We're going to be done with it. Because that was kind of like their agreement of like, okay, we're going to do this. But I'm not gonna be involved. I'm gonna be there to help you, but you're gonna do it, and it's only gonna be him. And then instead, they just, she kills a bunch of people, including his new, the new wife, And then the twins,
he has two
the
twin
boys.
sons in the house that they find. And I think just to tether what you're talking about with Racine's anger, that is kind of not necessarily biological, but in some way alluding to like the handing down from dad to child. The two twin boys that they have in the house, which Racine also kills the two of them when one of them calls Anaya ugly. Because that's kind of a general theme. Like Racine spent their life fighting for Anaya and sticking up for her, right? And that's where a lot of that anger was placed, like pushing back on people who were teasing Anaya. Anyway, the shorter twin, the younger twin, is really sensitive and is very sweet and very kind, Riley. And then when he finds the one brother is killed, he also loses it. He also very, very seen like his anger. And I mean, I get that too. Your sibling was just killed. Yeah. But he starts laughing at one point, which was it was kind of maniacal when he's standing over his brother. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Oh, that's that anger that is, part of the dad.
And that was really interesting because the twin boys clearly had a very complicated relationship because there's a moment where Anaya and Riley are in the kitchen. So class, when the girls show up to the house looking to kill the monster, the boys for some reason believe that they're strippers, that their dad ordered for them. It's very weird. They're like oh, the older one, I can't remember his name, but he's like, yeah, this seems like something dad would do. And Riley's like, no, it does. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But they decide to go along with it. And so Kara, I keep saying Kara or Kara. Kara gets really into it, and the boys say something nasty about Anaya. They're like, turn around. Like, we don't want to look at you. Because again, she's the one that's like very badly burnt. And so she kind of runs off. And she and Riley have this moment in the kitchen where he is kind of timidly asks her, what happened to you? What happened to your face? And she's turned off by it, but you can see she feels like some kind of safety with him, which I think is interesting because like there's all this commentary on pick-me's and like she's a little bit of a pick-me. Like she trusts him immediately, even though he then later almost kills her. Right. Like there's that moment where she and her sister have fallen out and she kind of aligns herself with him and he almost kills her.
She saves his life too. She saves his life.
She saves his life.
Because Racine is Carrie Young's trying to kill him and she goes no and they run out.
Right. Only for him to turn around and be like, yeah, bitch, gotcha. Like, so that's really interesting. But then also, when she reveals that she's pregnant, there's this conversation about how she's seeing this man who we never see him. And that when they have sex, he only has sex with her from behind because he doesn't want to look at her face. Right. And Racine is kind of like, girl, you need to have some self-respect. And Anaya's like, well, I'm not pretty like you are. And when they talk about how there's a moment where she says, like, what would our lives be like if the fire hadn't happened? And Anaya has this flashback where she's having sex with the man from the front. It's like, that's what she's like, yeah, if I didn't, and like, it's heartbreaking because it feels very real, right? Like and I can't even imagine, like, again, the characters and the story are so well layered in this respect that these are twins that love each other very deeply, but there's a little competitiveness there because one is the pretty one and one is the ugly one. And so, of course, when she imagines what her life would be like if she hadn't been burned, it's like a man would want to claim me and would want to look at me it's so heartbreaking, but also it's like, damn, like that's very real.
Yeah. And I think like just to get into the psychology of that moment, which I think is really brilliant, the idea that we can sit here and potentially judge that that's what you would imagine with some, you know what I mean? I can see where the internet might explode over that, but I also I can't help but go, Mil, listen, they really didn't, they only had each other. They didn't have a parent. So the idea, like sometimes that intimacy and that love, sex as it manifests with other people, that is so oxytocin-y or whatever, serotonin-y class of, released releases that kind of natural drug inside of us, that you can't help but go, oh my God, that's something I desire and want, because I need intimacy in some other way that I didn't get from the people that were supposed to love me, or parents, you know?
1000%, because, you know, there's even a scene early in the film where they are cleaning in an office. And a random woman in the office kind of recoils when she sees her. So, you know, it's understood that they have gone throughout life having people, you know, look at them with disgust because they've been burned. Something that is completely out of their control. Like, this is a traumatic, horrible thing that happened to them as children. And, you know, kind of, again, the layers of like, that Black women are like this lowest on the totem pole, that even when you are a victim of a terrible abuse as a child, throughout the rest of your life, everybody is looking at you like, ew, like, I don't, you know, and only wanting to see them as sexual beings, like, but also like as a, well, I don't want to look at you, like, turn around so I can appreciate the parts of your body that aren't burned, you know, like, this is a literal scar that they're having to carry around with them. So yeah, it is pick me, but also, again, like, why it's brilliant writing is that we as the audience can understand why she got there. Maybe it's not how we would operate, but I have an extreme amount of empathy for why she is that way. And later, when, you know, she actually gets to confront the monster, again, another heartbreaking moment where he kind of suggests that he didn't actually makes them. He's like, oh, no, I only burned your mom. Which
it was a brilliant rationale. No, and she pulled you into the fire.
Oh, and it wasn't if she just didn't let me touch her. And
which
that's
was a crazy rationale. I burned her because she wouldn't let me touch her. Wow.
Well, and even that, it's like we see this flashback that suggests that Vivica Fox, in an effort to try and save her life and protect her children, you know, he breaks into her home, even though she had a restraining order against him. And in the flashback, she is kind of being coy with him and like almost trying to like save herself. You know what I mean? Where it's like I think
her dialogue actually says that. I'm scared of him, but if I let him touch me, maybe he won't X.
Yes, right, exactly. Okay, so I do remember her saying that. So it's fair for us to assume that he's lying, but even if he is telling the truth, the rationale makes no fucking sense.
Right.
But Anaya starts to believe him. She's kind of like, oh, wow, maybe. And I just like, oh my God, you don't realize you're being manipulated by him.
But it's because of her desire, right? Yes. The idea that you grew up without parents, you just met your mother, or you know, whatever you remember
who
her.
didn't even write a letter to you. She wrote the letter to the other sister. So she already was like, oh, you a crybaby. I know my girl. She has the balls to really do this shit. And so
that is just so Black. That is just such a Black mother. Like, she I know what she means, but the tone is like,
she was like, you a crybaby. Why do you think she's a crybaby? She was abused and abandoned. Of course, like, and she literally was like, yeah, you couldn't take it. This is the one. Yeah,
I know. But when he really does manipulate her, friend, like you're saying, right? He's up there really trying to make a case, crying, saying, you know, oh my God, you're pregnant. And for a second, Sterling K. Brown is such a good actor. For a second, I believed his ass. I touched the screen. I was like, oh, it's almost over. Maybe there is like a button up. But I knew that Racine, who had gotten knocked out in another fight with the brothers, I knew that she was still, I was like, so she's got to come and try to stab him in the back or something. But the idea that Sterling went, boom, he switched and slapped the out of her. I was like, and
I think that was also really an interesting moment, because it's like we're getting insight into how this man has been able to wreak so much havoc. He's a charmer. And even the fact that his voice is a higher pitch, it to me, it's kind of like, you know, when you think of somebody as like evil and scary, they're like really dark and gravelly. But he's the exact opposite. He has this higher pitched, soft kind of voice.
Slow talking.
Yes, he's very gentle. He's sitting there eating his dinner and he's just patting his little mouth and taking his time. And it's like this insight into like, oh, this is how he has roped so many people into his web. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't let you see. And this is, unfortunately, this is what a lot of abusers do, right? They can't abuse everybody. Otherwise, like they need to kind of have this veneer that they're able to trick people with. And again, when it happened, I was like, girl, don't, no,
Well, and
it's happening.
It's such a great call, friend, because just zooming out into reality, like manipulators have to gaslight you to keep you. So if everything's good, if it's really, really good most of the time, but then like he gives you a black eye every now and again, it's like, well, I did something to cause that because he's really good to me otherwise, you know? It's really well done. The other thing I want to talk about is whoever, I don't know how this person's name, but whoever did the makeup for this should get an award. Like the fire burning, the Racine is not burned up here, but her skin is burned on one arm. And the idea that they care for each other by nightly putting ice on their scars is interesting, because I thought, like, I don't know if there's still pain there, but it's figurative if nothing else, you know?
They're soothing each other. They are, you know, and there are so many beautiful layers in that. To your point about the makeup, I felt that way about the clothes and the styling, like the hair, like they have their hair down the whole time, these beautiful braids. There's one scene where their hair is both up and they both have like little boxers that poke out of the top of their jeans with like these layered little tanks. I was like, I love the clothes. Like I want a Is God Is clothing collaboration somewhere, because I will be first in line. One thing I wanted to point out that I think will speak to you and me, especially because we're doing The Artist's Way, is that when Alesha Harris began writing the script for the film, she was working 2 jobs. She was on food stamps and was subletting an apartment in North Hollywood.
Wow.
And I thought, now, isn't that some shit? Because this film has really cemented her as a force of nature. And I think, again, for a debut film to knock it out of the park like this, it's like, oh, we are seeing the beginning of what I believe is going to be an incredible career. But to know that she was in this place writing the script, like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. How am I, paying for my food?
Yeah.
Like, what's going to happen? And especially in our industry where, we've talked about this so much on our Artist's Way recaps, where like, things don't work out. You're working on something for years, months, whatever it may be, and it falls apart. I've had that happen to me with a number of projects. I can only imagine while she was working on this, the feeling of, I don't even know if this is going to happen, but I just need to keep trudging forward despite my circumstances and hope that it's going to happen. And so I just thought that was like a really cool nugget.
I received that. And I also think the last thing I have to say about the script itself, well, I guess we can continue to talk about it, but it's so original, right? It's like you mentioned I mentioned Blaxploitation, but you said it's Eve's Bayou meets like a Tarantino
Kill Bill.
film.
Yeah,
like,
Kill Bill.
It's Kill Bill. I thought that's a great mashup. That's so smart. But no story is original. It just takes pieces from our lives, from experience, from humanity, from other stories, and smashes them together. This just felt so different. It felt so original, but at the same time referential. And I think that is always the key. Give us something that we recognize and we understand, but deliver it to us in a different package. That will keep us intrigued. And Alesha Harris, I think you did a smash up job. Like, really, really well done.
Yeah, I mean, I think something that we talk about so much on the pod is that like audiences want original stories.
Yeah.
Like, we are tired of all of the remakes, but I will also say the fact that this was a play first before it became a film, I think speaks broadly to what you and I have been talking about. Class, DeLon, and that one man show that we are encouraging him to really make happen. But like, a lot of times in Hollywood, and there's this whole idea around IP, right? Look at Heated Rivalry coming from a book, right? Like, there are so many ways to get your foot in the door by creating something that is uniquely yours in another arena that's not necessarily film and television. We talked about Obsession and Curry Barker having a YouTube channel and like making his own short films there before taking it to the big screen. So I hope that people take that away from this too, especially Black women, because it is so exciting to see a Black woman in a genre that like I can't say that I know other Black female writer directors that are exploring this kind of like, you know, dark but like satirical revenge, violent,
allegorical, yeah,
you know, Greek tragedy. I mean, it's just it has so much weight to it. And this is not an arena that I see a lot of us playing in. So I hope it gives permission to other creatives, but also like Hollywood, listen up. Like, you need to give us more opportunities to do different stuff.
Well, because not only will we buy it, but like everyone, all rising tides, right? The idea that like where you're producing, now we're kind of going off on a tangent, but you're producing Supergirl. I heard it was really good. I just have no desire to see it, right? Because we know that X and IP. What original stories can we get excited about? This is why Ryan Coogler had such a fucking smash hit with Sinners, because that was word of mouth. Like I really didn't see any marketing for it. I saw a little bit on social media, but it was other people being like, I'm going back to see this film again. And I was like, oh God, please let me go see this film.
And to that end, I also want to shout out two producers on Is God Is, Tessa Thompson and Janixa Bravo, two Black women. I don't know if you saw Zola, but Janixa Bravo directed Zola.
Okay. Yeah.
And so like, it's just really cool to see Black women championing this film, and that this is like this really stacked cast, but there's also like a bunch of newcomers. I wanted to mention the guy who plays Riley. His name is Justin Ross. He is a rapper and he's like really involved in like ballroom. He's like one of the guys that does like that da 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 da. He is amazing. He came across my timeline on TikTok and instantly I knew who he was, and I just like started watching all of his videos. He's delightful. And I'm just very excited to see like where his career goes. I'm really excited to see where Mallory goes. Again, Kara, I am a fan forever. I mean, when she's in the car and they're listening to that Death Grip song, like the like, yeah, and she is like hyping herself up, the intensity and like the little moments that she has in her eyes where you can see like the gears turning, that is such an incredible skill. She has a control over her eyes and like every part of her body. And she's only like 5 foot tall. Yeah. She has such a tremendous presence. I will watch whatever she's in.
And she's everywhere.
Here to eternity. Oh, yes.
She's
on Broadway, right? Yeah, she's on Broadway right now with Io in Proof.
Oh, great. And she was also in I Love Boosters. She had a small cameo in I Love Boosters as well. So class, highly recommend this film. Like Karen was saying, it's on YouTube if you want, but on other streaming platforms if you want to rent it. It's a beautiful film. Let's support, because I dig it. Great. Do you want to move on to talk to our class? Comments from the class?
So we love hearing from you either by email at lemmefixitpod@gmail.com or over on Instagram at fixitpod or right here in the comments. I wanted to highlight this comment from user QFD WIDZ. It says, hi, lawyer here. I love Fran's advice to the classmate who's being harassed at work. Keeping a paper trail is great. I would also add that it would be fab if she BCC'd her personal, non-company related email just in case she loses access to those emails for some reason. Such a great recommendation. Class, in our last episode, we got an email from somebody who was dealing with a really nasty bully at work. A few other people encouraged her to actually print out the emails, which I think is also very smart. But BCCing your personal email address just to have a paper trail, just in case they try you and you need to take some legal action, that you are covered. So thank you for highlighting that. Dewan, do you have a comment that you would like to shout out?
I do. And I also want to just shout out, I met one of our listeners at this place called Lawn on the D, which is hilarious. Or Lawn on D. I added this which is this great, this is where I did my artist date, this like great outdoor place here in the South. And Dorchestery in Boston. They just stopped me and were like, I just have to say, I love the pod. I love listening to you. I'll let you go on with your night. But like, I love it so much. Thank you. And I was like, oh my God, that's so sweet. So that's one. And then we got an email from someone named Callie in our inbox. And it's a pretty long email, but I just want to highlight some things that they said. It starts with, hey friends, this may never reach your eyes. It did, Callie. But I've been wanting to have it be said out loud and not keep it to myself. Callie is from South Africa, so she's a South African listener. She says, this is just a portion of it. I'm constantly in awe of how well you both communicate. You have this incredible way with words where everything is so thoughtful, clear, and intentional. Because of you both, I started journaling. I used to love writing when I was younger, but somewhere along the way, life got busy and heavy, and it became one more thing I didn't have the capacity for. Hearing you both talk about journaling, though, and how freeing it's been, made me realize I don't have to write well. I don't need it to be profound or polished or even make sense. I can just write about anything, about everything, simply because it's for me. That's been a really unexpected gift. So thank you. Yo, I'm so grateful for that, because journaling is now a part of my life. Thank you to these pages. I'm for real. I know friends been journaling all her day.
I know you are.
I'm about it. I'm about it. I love it. I love it. So I'm glad you're on the journey with us.
This is also a perfect plug, class. We've been doing the Artist Way. We are 10 weeks in now. There's only 2 weeks left. It's been so transformative. The episodes go up on Sunday afternoon. If you want to do it with us, or you just want to watch our conversations, if you want to see me cry, if you want to see Delon cry.
It's happening.
I mean, we also like tease each other and whatever, but it's just been so beautiful, and the response has been so positive. And I love that members of the class are picking up what they can from it. Even if you decide that you don't want to do it with us, or you don't consider yourself to be an artist, giving yourself space to reflect on moments in your life, things that maybe you need to heal from, people you need to close the chapter on and move away from, or celebrating the people who've poured into you, which is something that Delon and I do so often on the show and is a big part of the pages, I think is so valuable and something that everybody could stand to learn from and gain something from.
Absolutely.
I think some people hear the artist way and they're like, well, I'm not an artist, so I'm not going to do that. And it's like, well, I would say everybody's an artist in some way.
I say this all the time to my students. I'm looking at a building that's being built across from me. Somebody had to design that fucking building. It was an architect, but I think that's art. That's creativity, right? When you're constructing an email at work, you know what to say, how to say it, what the niceties are, what the business speak is. That's creativity to me, right? I think we're all creative. And just to the pages and to what Callie is saying here, again, Callie, I'm so glad you're on this journey. Self-reflection, and to what you're saying, Fran, is so important. And that's the thing that I love the most. It's like how often is it that you take time out in your day? Not enough, friends. Not enough to go, I'm taking 30 minutes for me to meditate, to read, to write. Like, it's really, really important. And
let me pull that thread. A lot of people are afraid to do that reflection because they don't want to confront what it is they're going to see.
Well,
and we talked about this most recently. One of the assignments was to go back and read your pages. And I remember Delon, he didn't want to read them.
So let me tell you.
He did.
As soon as this bitch started this stuff, I was like, I knew where she was going. I was giving her the benefit of the doubt. I was like, she's about to read me for film. And then I got at you later. I was like, yes, I'm glad I did.
He sent me a message and he was like, holy shit. Because again, class, you have to write 3 pages every morning. And we don't do every morning, okay?
No,
like sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. But it's a lot of pages. I've almost filled up this entire journal, and you're going back and you're like, I don't remember saying this.
Right.
I don't remember this. And some of the pages are, I don't want to do this. This is stupid. I'm exhausted. Like, this is not working. I'm ready to give up. But then there's little nuggets and grains of truth in there. And that's the thing that's always been eye-opening to me about journaling is that I have journals. My first journal was, I think it was 2nd grade. It was an assignment for class. We were doing it in class and I have it. And it is Delon, my God, it's the funniest thing. Did I tell you did I tell you what was in there?
I feel like you might have at one point, but please share because I don't remember.
On the very first page, it was like, "Dear Journal, be a friend to me because I need one. And just know sometimes I might use curse words, but it's just."
I love how you were saying it and you were giving all this neck attitude.
And just so you know, it was like I might curse, but like don't. And I was like, why was I in second grade?
Like
was I talking about cursing?
8 years old talking about
like,
cursing.
Why am I talking about cursing? But also, like, why am I writing to the journal as if it's a person? Like, dear journal, be my friend. Very weird.
Oh, my heart goes out to you too. Be my friend. She needed one.
She did. She really did. But you know, and similarly, something that we talked about before is that, like, sometimes I'll look at pages from high school, from college, from when I was going through my divorce, and I'm really struggling on the page, but me as an adult, I don't remember what that moment was. And the reflection is sometimes things feel so important in the moment, and they might be in that moment, but in the runway of your life, it's a blip.
Yeah.
And it's something that, like, is not really going to leave a mark. And I'm like, who am I? The person I'm, went on a date with, or a boy that didn't like me, or, an assignment that I didn't do well on. I'm like, I don't remember those things. They are immaterial to me today.
And I found a lot of ideas in there, not only for my writing, but I was like, oh, we had class, like Fran said, every episode of the Artist Way comes out on Sunday because we're diving deep into it here right now. So get at those episodes if you want a little bit more. But I was like, man, this is something that is a true north. True north was one of the exercises we did a couple weeks ago. And I wrote something down that I thought was true north. And I was like, yeah, it's that. It's fucking Tony Award. Give me an award. Yeah, me there. I want to give my speech,
Move over, Cara Brown. I'm coming for your ass.
Okay. You got two. All I need is one. But I was reading this and I was like, oh, that is true north. That's a really hard thing to digest because it's not so it's not so product based. It's not so visual, right? It's not so accolade
tangible. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought that was really interesting. So Callie, again, I'm glad you're with us on this. And class, join us, please. I hope you're journaling. If not, we have a couple more weeks of The Artist's Way, but we can continue doing it. I think that's something that I really want to continue talking about.
Yeah, I mean, class, also pitch us ideas, because I was thinking it's like a self-care Sunday series. Like, we still have, these kind of emotional talks about creative process in our life and what's happening in the world. But I have that deck of cards from Esther Perel, who's your very favorite person.
Oh, I love her.
And there's all these like prompts in there. It's a game, but there's all these different just like thought starters about relationships and life. And I've been bringing them to the open mic that I've been hosting, where if people, don't have material, they can pull a card and just try to like talk off the top of their head about a thing. And so I was like, oh, maybe we could play with those sometimes. Or I don't know, class, maybe there's another book series or program that you would like us to dig into on our Sunday series. I think that would be really fun for us.
I do too. Now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the Glow Up, where we give props to those who've turned themselves around with our help. Friend, do you want to go first?
I don't have a glow up this week, so
I have two for your ass then.
Great. Well, I'll kick it off to you.
Great. One of them is adjacent to Is God Is. I just want to give it up to Erica Alexander. She plays again this character, Mother Divine, and it's such a funny part of this film. It is a commentary on the church and what the church means, and she's also a bit of a pick-me. And I thought it was just like a really fun way to address that. But her career really blew up. She was on the Cosby Show before she got Living Single, but Living Single, playing Maxine Shaw, I think's her last name.
Yes.
Brilliant character. That's what we know her, especially in the Black community, to be in the 90s, where it was a lot of Black sitcoms were huge. But she kind of went away. She was doing like a little bit here, a little bit there. But she has this new podcast with Kim Coles called Reliving Single, who I know you're friendly with.
Yeah, I'm friends with
Coles.
Kim.
Yeah. And it's really funny. And they're talking about living single. They're having other cast members on the show. But that's given her a little bit of leg up. She's really profound thinker, profound artist.
Yeah.
And she's having a second wind here in terms of like...
She's also in The Rise and Fall of Reggie Dinkins on
That's her
NBC, which
latest
our
project.
friend Grace is a writer on, a
Yes.
writer and producer on. So yeah, it's really cool seeing her have this moment.
And she also had a really great part in American Fiction too. That
Yes.
wasn't humorous. It was just like a beautiful, dramatic acting moment. So I'm giving up to her. Like, way to go, Erica. Glad you're getting so much work now, because we know it's sparse out here.
Yeah. Oh my God. She's incredible. I sat near her at Black Girls Rock a few years ago, and I was so excited to just, I don't really fangirl, but I was really excited to meet her. And she was so freaking nice. And then it was like a few years later, suddenly I was seeing her in more stuff. So it is really cool. And it's a good reminder that like, you just got to stay the course.
Long
and
game.
that like, it's the long game. And, yeah. And I think even the fact that they're doing this Reliving Single podcast is so important, because unfortunately for us, we all know Living Single, but I really feel like a lot of people have not given that show its flowers.
Talk about
and
it.
if you go back and watch it, it really does hold up. And, there's the discourse around Friends essentially ripping the show off.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is there are a number of shows that are in the footsteps of Living Single.
Sex in the City.
Exactly. It's like, and Girlfriends, there's a lot of shows that are kind of, again, like the idea of a show about young people and their sex lives is not revolutionary, but that show did it in a way that was very fresh, very frank,
very black.
very black, but also like sexy and funny in a way that like we didn't really see on network television.
Yeah.
And so it's just really cool that they're getting a chance to kind of bring new eyes onto the show and open new doors for both of them as actors.
Truly. I couldn't agree more. And I hope we see Kim Coles out here a little bit more too.
Yes, I would love that.
My other glow up is a little bit one of my like little kind of cynical ones.
Okay.
I'm giving it up to Puritanism, which I guess is just conservatism. So in 2016, Massachusetts legalized cannabis sales, right? Recreational cannabis. Now there's a ballot measure coming up here in November, 10 years after this, to make it unlawful, delegalize it. I don't know if that's a word.
Or recriminalize it?
Recriminalize it. And I just, if you live in Massachusetts, I don't know how many Massachusetts listeners we have. I just want to say, vote no on this measure, because it's insane. The idea that we've been living with this for 10 years and, there aren't any cannabis drivers that I've heard of that have really done anything crazy criminal. I mean, you might. There are more drunk drivers than I think cannabis drivers that.
And we're not trying to. And we're not trying to get rid of alcohol, because who stands to profit from alcohol?
Talk about it.
Right.
So yeah, this is really stupid, and I think it's just part of the conservative wave that's happening in the country with DEI rollbacks and all that kind of stuff. So I want to spotlight this stuff and say, again, if you're in Mass, or if any state that you are in is trying to do something like this after we've already legalized it, please go and vote. Please go and vote, friends, because it's really dumb at this point for my money.
Oh, well, listen, we covered a lot of ground this episode. I love us doing reviews. I hope that we do more of them. I feel like this is really like our lane. So class, tell us in the comments if there's another movie or a television show that you would like for us to review, or maybe there's a career or a book or a news story that we should tackle. Send it to us as an email, lemmefixitpod@gmail.com. Put it right here in the comments, or hit us up over on Instagram @fixitpod.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Oh, no, that's not it. No, that's not it. How does the podcast go? If you are new here, welcome. Thanks for being part of the class. Please hit the subscribe button if you like what you see. We have new episodes every Wednesday. And like Fran was saying, we have those Sunday episodes where we're doing The Artist's Way. There's a great live chat that happens on Wednesday, noon at PST Pacific at noon and 3 on the Eastern Standard Time. Join us for that. Fran was telling me that you guys were in it when we were not even able to be there, and there were like over 100 people there.
170 people were watching live, which is wild.
Go off. Hit that subscription button if you like what you see, and hit the notification bell to remind you when those episodes drop. I'm Delon.
I'm Francesca, and this was Lemme Fix It. Twin.
2020 twin. Yeah. Remember that?